and welcome back to the Super Centex Podcast. I'm Chad Conine here with Trib Sports Editor Brice Cherry. Brice, I just saw in the Zoom link that it's called the Super Centex Podcast on the Zoom link. So I'm going to just roll with that as our official title.
It's a good call.
We've been doing this all season via Zoom. And last year we did it in the office. Of course, we had a different office then. We still have an office.
We do.
But we now do it on Zoom, coming at you from our home offices. So how do you feel about that vibe? Does that work out pretty well for you?
There's pros and cons, for sure. I'll say this. When I was leaning back in my home office desk chair the other day and it broke, I wasn't able to go grab another chair from anybody else because it's just me here at the house. I do have some folding chairs, and I certainly made an Amazon order that day, but
I wonder if that makes me wonder if Home Depot and Office Depot are going to merge.
I don't know.
Well, you got to make a run to Office Depot. They've made a lot of advancements in the way of office chairs.
I'm excited to see what ergonomic benefits my new chair has.
Okay, well, since this is a high school football podcast, why don't we jump into some high school football talk here?
That sounds good.
This week, after a little bit of a lighter slate last week, we got a big jump up in quality and quantity this week. Full slate of games, and the quality, there's a bunch we could talk about, but two state ranked matchups. We got number 2 Stephenville at number 6 la-vega, and number 10 Chilton at number 1 Mart. Which one will be the better game?
I think Stephenville la-vega, and that's really not trying to disparage the game that you will be attending, the Chilton Mart game, but we've talked about it on here. To me, this is a prove-it game for Chilton. Can they play with Mart? We'll see. I think Mart just has been on another level than really everyone else in its division. Obviously, they came up just a little bit short in the state championship game, but if that's your one hiccup, that's not too bad. Meanwhile, that la-vega-Stephenville game, to me, shapes up, and it might be a little bit of a prove-it game for la-vega. John saw Stephenville a few weeks ago. Who did he see him against? Conley. And said that their quarterback is something special and a guy that la-vega will have to, really have its keys on. But again, I think we've said it on here before, you cannot sleep on Don Hyde's team. They're going to be tough. They're going to be playing at home. I think, they're still ranked in the top 10 with good reason. And you can put their schedule up against anybody's year in and year out. They do not back down from anyone. And I think that helps them come playoff time. They played Argyle. You saw that game, played them toe to toe. And so, how will this game play out? I don't know. I think it's right there for the taking for la-vega, but obviously Stephenville is a pretty salty opponent.
Now, on the other one, I'll speak to that one a little bit because I made the commitment in my column a month ago, probably, to cover this game. I asked the question, and I think it got put in a bigger headline than I really intended.
It was like war starts fine.
But I asked the question: Can the Pirates board Mart's ship? In terms of championship, district championship, and it got some attention. The coaches paid attention to it. There was a conversation between Coach James at Chilton and Coach Hoffman and Mart, where Coach James was like, "I did not say that," And but I said, that's where I'll be on October 8th. And it's tough when you make a statement like that, because you're not looking at the schedule and you're not saying, what else am I going to not go to because I'm going to that,
Right.
But now that we've arrived at the week, and we got Brian Crown over with eyes on the la-vega-Stephenville game for us, I feel good about it.
Yeah,
I think it has potential to be a great game. I hate that Mart has a player or two, hurt that won't be able to play, and probably knocks them. I mean, Keyshawn Clater being hurt is just a bummer for all of Central Texas, because he was one of the area's best players. But you can't help but think that gives Chilton a little bit better chance than they would have had otherwise.
Certainly. And, I also feel like, okay, coaches will never subscribe to the theory of a moral victory. That said, I feel like if Chilton can go out and give Mart a tough game, stay in the game, give themselves a chance, and even if they lose, there's things to build on and things to take out of that. They can extract some confidence from that. Last night I was covering volleyball for us with two state-ranked top 10 volleyball teams in our area, Lorena and Troy. And
two of the state-ranked top 10 volleyball teams in our area.
Yeah, two. That's what I said. Yeah, two of them. Lorena is number 7 in 3A, and Troy is number 9. And I would say Lorena is like right here, and Troy is like right there. And Lorena ended up sweeping, but I still feel like watching that match, that Troy could take some things out of that, and even losing 3 sets in a row and make it 6 in a row, because Lorena also swept the first time. I still feel like they can go, man, we went toe to toe, because all the sets were close, with one of the best teams in the state. We can build on this. What do we need to get better at? And taking that back to Chilton, even if they lose by 2 touchdowns, let's say, but if it's a game into the fourth quarter, or something like that, I feel like that's progress. Against Mart, I mean, that's progress.
Okay, I've got to flip that around on you,
because
the scenario you're talking about played out exactly with Bosqueville and Crawford last year. Crawford had to make a strip in the fourth quarter to stop Bosqueville, and ended up beating them close in that game. And then they play in the playoffs, and because of that, I think Bosqueville had Crawford's full attention, and Crawford waxed him. So maybe it's better if Chilton goes and gets beat by 40 on Friday night. Then if they meet again in the regional final, Mart will be like, oh, we got this in the bag, and Chilton has a chance to sneak up on him.
Maybe. I doubt that's probably the pregame speech that James out at Chilton will roll out with on Friday night. I mean, obviously, the cliche is it's hard to beat a team twice, and certainly it you mentioned the Crawford-Bosqueville example. Another one from last year would be Live Oak and Vanguard. Live Oak beat them twice, handled them pretty easily. And then we've also seen the flip side of that, where like la-vega lost to Argyle in the regular season, beat them in the playoffs. So it's not a hard and fast thing either way. But if you're Chilton, I just feel like, you can gain more by making it a close game and building on that than you can by, getting blown out and maybe sucking Mart into a false sense of security later on.
That may be my bold pick of the week. I may pick Chilton to win it.
Wow. Okay.
You would definitely endorse that decision, wouldn't you?
I would, as somebody picking against you.
So now we're fully into phase 2 of the season. We're almost fully into it. There's a couple of stragglers out there still playing non-district games, but district play starts for everybody, just about. And that leads us to a few big games. Doing a feature on Marlin for Friday. They play at Italy. That's a big game to start district. Probably from our point of view, we can say it's the district championship game right out of the box. Crawford versus Hamilton is a pretty important district game, as Hamilton looks pretty good in that loop. And then I think a real sort of defining game will be Cameron-Yoe versus Academy, because Academy has shown themselves to be right there some of the time. They're 5-1. Beat McGregor last week, but Cameron-Yoe just obliterated Rockdale to start district, so they're 2-4 now and gaining steam. What do you like out of that bunch?
Man, I think you picked 3 pretty good games right there. I mean, I feel like all of them have the chance to be entertaining. I would say you would not rule out any team in either of those 3 matchups. I mean, I think there's probably some favorites, with good reason. I would be a little surprised if Hamilton beat Crawford, but as you mentioned, the Bulldogs are playing well. But I do feel like Crawford is the class of that district. It is kind of crazy to think that, here in the district opener, you basically have the district championship game, but I agree with you. I think that's what shapes up in that Mart-Italy game. Marlin, not Mart. Give a lot of credit to Ruben Torres for what he's done in his first year there at Marlin. A couple of years ago, it was pretty ragged out there. I mean, and the Bulldogs are playing well. They have such a tradition and pride in Marlin and in that football program and in athletics in general, and have had some good teams. We know some of the struggles that the town has had and the school district and stuff. But, like I said, I'm really impressed with the job he's doing there in his first year, because to me, that first year for a high school football coach, especially when they haven't been on staff before, usually it's a transition year. It's a get to know you kind of year, and you don't really expect that much. But if Marlin can go out and maybe win this game against the Gladiators, go on and win a district title, that's a heck of a first year for Ruben Torres. Yeah,
that's almost Jinx Tucker type stuff, isn't it?
It is. That'd be a fun conversation to have. Chad's, of course, referring to our Jinx Tucker trophy, which is similar to the Gordon Wood trophy that the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame puts out. Kind of takes into account overcoming adversity and things like that. So,
an endorsement as that game as the district championship game right off the bat. Looks like on paper the next best team in that district is actually 2-3.
Yeah, it's not a particularly strong district. Besides Marlin-Italy and Axtell, you've got Dawson, Kearns, and Cayuga. So
those 3 teams have, I think, 2 or 3 wins between them.
Two wins. They're 2 and 13 between the 3 of them. So yeah, I mean it's not a powerhouse district. It is not the District of Doom.
Now, not to be left out, we got our little big game of the week.
You know how
this is in
my wheelhouse, man. You served this one up right for me.
Right. So Vanguard, which is undefeated, I think.
Yes.
Plays Live Oak, which is undefeated. And I guess that one's going to be downtown. You're hard by the silos, not too far from Union Hall.
Yep.
So you go get you a dinner at Union Hall, take the whole family, let everybody choose what they want. And then you walk over to the ball game, right?
Yeah, Brian Coates will be covering that game for us. I think when I contacted him about doing that one, I'm trying to remember what I called it. I don't think it was the shootout by the silos, the showdown by the silos.
How about the Chip and Joe Bowl?
Chip and Joe Bowl. I mean, I don't know if Chip and Joe will actually be there. Probably not.
No, it's not.
But yeah, I'm excited about this game. 6-0 versus 6-0. Now, just to give our listeners, viewers, a little bit of peek behind the curtain. So last week, Live Oak played Oglesby. Oglesby has a pretty good, UIL 6-man team. Live Oak, of course, is ranked number 1 in the state among private school 6-man teams. I think we expected a pretty good game there. Live Oak went out and 45 them. And after that, Brice Helton sent you and I a text message and was like, "Thanks for the love, Chad," pointing out that you had picked Live Oak. And I made the comment then, and I will stick by this. I will not pick against Live Oak again this year. The way the Falcons are playing, to me, they are the prohibitive TAPS 6-man state championship favorite. I think they add another trophy to their well-stocked trophy case this year. All that said, I'll be really interested just to see how close, if Vanguard can keep this game close at all, because the Vikings are playing some really good ball. I mean, to me, this shapes up as maybe Vanguard's best team in school history. The way they're playing, and they got a quarterback in Walker Nall who right now has close to 1,400 yards passing in 6 games. 33 touchdowns, and I've got to check with Luke Pylant over there at Vanguard to see if this is correct, but 0 interceptions in as many passing attempts as he's had, 93. So Vanguard can put up points in a hurry. They like to pass it around, which you don't always see in 6-man football. You see a lot of running. So I'll be interested just to see how close Vanguard can keep this game, if it can keep it close.
Now, if I end up beating you by less than 2 game margin in the picks box, I guess I'll have to attribute that 100% to the Live Oak Falcons, because I picked Live Oak to beat Blum, right?
You did.
You picked Blum?
I did.
And then, of course, I picked him to beat Oglesby. So I got those 2 on you. So
Indeed.
There would be your margin of victory in that case.
Yeah. I'm not going to lose any sleep over losing that picks title to you.
You're not worried about it yet, huh?
I'm not. All
right. So last question.
Okay.
And I promised you in our weekly script, a little bit of a curveball type of question here. So the coffee shop that I frequent in part of my routine is to get up in the morning, go drink some coffee, eat a breakfast burrito, do a little reading, get the old brain going, and then tackle whatever I have to tackle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always get the same thing. So I've been chosen as, and this still hasn't gone up on Instagram. I hope it does soon, especially since I'm putting it out there on our podcast. But they picked me as the customer of the month for October. And so if you go to this particular coffee shop and if they sponsor our podcast, I'll say the name of it, but I won't until then. But if you go and you order a Chad this month, you get Americano with an extra shot of espresso. And that's the drink. So that's the whole thing. So my question to you is, if you were going to have an item named after you for the month at a particular watering hole or restaurant in town, what would it be?
Oh, that is the easiest question out there. It would be a number 3 at Chick-fil-A, which is I get the 12-piece nuggets with a medium waffle fry and a large diet lemonade. And Chad's video is popping out there. There we go. Okay, now he's back.
I had a spam call. It must have been somebody calling me about being customer of the month. They want to know how I did it. But so you got number 3.
So when I first moved to Waco and started working at the Trib in '98, I'm coming from Brenham, Texas. We did not have a Chick-fil-A in Brenham, and I loved Chick-fil-A. Was quite excited when I came to Waco and there was Chick-fil-A here in town. And this was back in the days when we still wrote checks for things. And you could write a check at the Chick-fil-A drive-through. And I want to say every fourth or fifth check in my little checking balance was to Chick-fil-A for $6.75 for that particular order, which was not a number 3 at the time. I want to say it was a number 5 at the time. Now it's a number 3. But yeah, and it's gone up in price over the years naturally. But I still love that order.
My question was, obviously, if you were the customer of the month, where would it be, and what would your item be? But for that particular response, writing a check at Chick-fil-A, the question could have been, "Hey, give me some evidence that you lived in another century."
True that.
Yeah.
Put it this way: I've got a 16-year-old kid that has a checking account, and we've never ordered checks for him because who needs to write a check?
I'm out of checks at the moment and have been for several weeks. So checks. I mean, I think if I was having a rough day, you know how I am when I'm kind of a little bit frazzled, a little bit irritated with the world around me. If I was having one of those days and I went to say like CVS or somewhere like that where the line tends to be slow and frustrating, and somebody popped out a checkbook and started writing a check, I think I would just lose it right there.
Yeah, I can see you doing that. So I will tell our viewers for that free advertisement for Chick-fil-A, go order a Brice, see if they give you a number 3. Even if you have to explain what it is to them, they'll probably still going to answer my pleasure.
Well, that's the other thing is, I pitched this question to you, and like egomaniac that you are, a national chain is going to make you customer of the month. I'm so sure.
Well, no, they don't know me all around the country at Chick-fil-A, but
I know it's a hypothetical question, but
couldn't they do their own thing here at the Waco Chick-fil-A?
I'm going to be the McDonald's customer of the month.
You never know. Maybe I'll be on one of those Chick-fil-A commercials, sitting on the couch talking about Chick-fil-A.
That would work. That would fit. Except your thing would actually be like a milkshake, a cherry milkshake. It'd be called the Cherry Bomb.
Oh, I like it. That's a good place to end.
All right. That's a podcast this week, folks. Goodbye.
See ya.